Hello everybody. We've just started the new month of July. And this is the trend scan analysis of the futures market, looking here on the with a focus on the higher time frames, quarterly, monthly, and weekly. I'm going to look as well at some lower time frames just to get an idea where patterns are developing, where we can actually identify edges for either a long trading long or short. Let's start here with the S&P future. So as you can see on the monthly, well, this is the Corona scare, this Corona dip, and it very much looks like we've started the race for new highs here on U.S. equities. DES is the S&P futures contract. So this looks like a glimpse, right? Breaking to new lows and then recovering. So it's a V-shape shakeout basically. Taking out the weak hands, and the strong hands have actually invested here. So in hindsight, we can see that this spike down was a test. It was still a test of the 21 moving average. Well, it's a very, very strong test. But we can see in hindsight if the test was successful, so the 21 holds, and yes, it held, right? So the month after this spike down, price was able to close above 21, and then the following bars were able to close higher and higher and higher. So this is obviously where this V shape comes from. Now on the quarterly chart, we can see that there was not even a quarterly bar close below 8, right? So this was just a test, a quick test of 21, just a touch, as we've seen here before, just a touch, a weak touch. Well, this went a little bit below, but it's still a touch. And then price was able to break above the 8. So that's a very, very strong trend that I call super trend, which is the very best trend you can actually find. And it's ideal to take long positions in my trend following systems. So this here now on the monthly, we're actually coming close to the last highs, right? Let's zoom in here on the weekly. So the first consolidation, this one here was a dead cat bounce, which is not surprising. Well, then we see a couple of bars of consolidation, small range weekly bars. So that's a consolidation. And once this was broken higher, I was already expecting, and well, I've communicated that during these monthly trend scans, that we can actually expect a 2-leg pullback, right? And we are in the we're about to or we have done that, right? So this is one leg, small consolidation, and the second leg. So now we're having another consolidation that is even more pronounced than this one, though very shallow, right? Still shallow. It's only able to pull back to the moving averages 821. They are squeezed here, one above the other. Now, if this, so that's an important high now. Well, we have two important highs, which is the last high here and the last intermediate high, which is this one, or on the daily, we can clearly see it here. So price is really showing strength as well on the daily chart. And now a very important level, I've put it down here. Well, is this high? If this high gets broken, well, then we're up for the race to new highs. Well, price will just follow the strong trends we see. That's an EMA trend, that's a super trend. Well, the trends we see on the monthly and the quarterly chart. So that's the S&P. Let's have a look at the Nasdaq. Well, as you know, the Nasdaq is even stronger than the ES or even the YM. We can clearly see it here on the quarterly chart. Well, it doesn't even look that there was any problem, right, on the quarterly chart. We just see this dip. It's a weak touch of the 21. Same. Well, here we see some problem. We see the scare spike down. But the price was not able to close below the 21. So that's a very normal test of 21. Price was able to make a new high right here with this new high. Well, then the psychologically important level 10,000 is broken, definitely is broken. So now we're breaking to new highs, and it looks pretty good, yeah. So here on the 60-minute chart, well, on this triggers in lower time frames. Let's just make an example. So that's a 60-minute chart. It's clearly trending. It's an EMA trend, and we had this morning. Today is Monday. This morning we had a really nice pattern. That's a turtle pattern that has triggered. So this is the risk basically. This here is the 1 hour risk, and this is how it developed. It made its stop run moves, and it just continuing and breaking higher and higher. Like all time frames are basically are bullish, and yeah, this is the power of multi-bar patterns with a tight stop. So let's move on now to the metals. Let's start with gold. So I've made a trade call like public on the blog here of gold. That's an S1 gecko trade. Well, it's a re-entry. I think on this was the first entry. This is the second entry. This has a lower win rate because the daily is not strongly trending, right? It's basically here still stuck in a sideways range. Well, it has slightly made a new high here, this wick high, but it's still stuck in the range. And this trade was taken because I think, well, it's time now to actually break out of the range. Why do I think so? Well, the higher time frames look really bullish, and that's what we look at today's video, right? So it's the weekly chart. It's in a very strong trend. Well, we see the V-shape shake out here of the corona scare that has basically made it to new highs. That's what we expect for US equities actually, right? Here on the monthly, well, we had a turtle pattern that is nicely in profit already, and the quarterly looks brilliant, right? So we're about to make a new high, and the last high here in the end of 2011 becomes a magnet level where price is drawn towards and then pushed through. So that's a huge stop run level. We can actually, from here, well, I'm very keen on trading these higher time frames by taking trades on a smaller time frame. And in this case, well, it's a 60-minute trade, but I'm actually wanting to ride the quarterly chart and transition that into a swing trade. Now let's have a look at silver. Silver is in a slightly different position because it's not that bullish here on the quarterly chart. It has actually made a new low during the corona crisis. However, well, that's a test bar, right? This red one, and this red test bar. Well, if this gets broken higher, that's a very bullish signal coming from the quarterly chart. And I think we've basically ended this consolidation since end of 2011. This consolidation is ended, and gold has already made this move, right? So gold is actually leading the way, and silver is just lagging. And I've already made my investments, and I'm very happy in adding as well day trading the silver futures chart. Here on the monthly, well, we've got another test bar, this red rejection bar that has been broken higher. So now the next important levels is this green level. So if this gets broken, well, that's for me actually the last confirmation that tells me that as of now we are running for stop run levels. All these here clustered are stop run levels, so we can actually have a huge bull run till we make new highs. So there's a lot of momentum embedded in these charts for bullish traders. V-shaped recovery, we see it here in silver as well. Silver is stuck in a range here, and it looks very bullish. So I think we are breaking out of this range, same as gold. So well, this is a consolidation. Whenever there's a consolidation, I actually like to zoom in, and that's what I see. That's a standard type of turtle pattern with a test bar, and the entry would be up here and a stop there. So this is another. Well, it's not fulfilling the rules, but it's for the higher time frames. But it's a pattern here that is valid on the 240. That just gives me an additional confirmation and confidence that we're actually going to break out of this sideways range. We had another gecko pattern here actually last week that worked very well, right? and is about to develop fantastically if we break out of this range. Now the third in the series is Platin. It's the least bullish, right? So we are still we don't see a lot of recovery. Like we can compare that to the silver chart, except that we don't see the recovery. So I'm not very bullish here. Still not yet very bullish on platinum. Like palladium is a completely different ball game, right? Palladium has made its highs. Well, it has been in an exhaustion move. It was very good money. It was possible to make really good money here, trading this acceleration exhaustion move, trading lower time frames, and that's what I did. Multiple times here with such an exponential chart. It's ideal to trade smaller time frames. So this is now in sleeping mode basically. It's the volatility is calming down. We see it nicely. It's even here as well. Here it's in a range, but it's in sleeping mode. It needs to digest this exponential acceleration. So I'm leaving palladium apart for the next couple of months or quarters. I don't see this to be very attractive. However, there are many more attractive things to trade, right? So, for example, copper. Copper looks good. Here's our Corona scare and recovery V-shape as well. Very bullish. We actually see here only that we have tested the 200 moving average, got rejected, rejection bar. Now, developing a lot of strong follow through, V-shape, very strong daily trend. So I'm quite keen on trading this too. So this is basically the copper chart is kind of squeezed now. I'm a little bit cautious with copper because the price is now squeezed here between the last low. It's definitely a very important low, and here the high of this rejection bar and the 21 moving average. That is a very important dynamic resistance. So price might get there. So there's some room to go. But then it really needs to prove strength, this chart, because it has to overcome quite some resistance, some hurdles, and I'm not sure if it's able to do that in the first run. But we'll see. Now crude, as you know, it had a terrible a fall off the chart. It went down below $10. Well, there were really nice trading opportunities, and I've shared that with my masters group. Trading this fall of price with I think it was a 60 minute gecko pattern, benefiting from this huge fall, like from 60 to down below 10. So now we're on a recovery. That's a dead cat a bounce, and now we have to see if price is strong enough to actually go higher. And what comes up next here is the 200 moving average. So it's a target area and a magnet, and price should get attracted and pulled and pushed through this area. So I'm expecting once a new high, so this here becomes now an important level. If a new high is made, well then I'm all up, all over it, all over this chart to take to benefit from long opportunities in lower time frames. So let's have a look here at HO, heating oil. Or heating oil is actually more bullish than crude oil, because we can see here it's showing strength, right? So it has already broken slightly by a couple of ticks the last high. So this magnet level now becomes more likely. So heating oil is looks like it's going to front run crude oil. It's a really strong and smooth 60-minute trend. And we already have, this morning we already had a really nice S1 pattern that is working nicely, running for stops. So it's running for stops of the pattern itself here on the 5-minute, and it's running for this huge stop run level, and which makes this trade a swing trade with potential of getting up to 1.62, and so that looks pretty good here on heating oil. I prefer HO over CL. Now let's have a look at natural gas. Natural gas is is a great instrument to trade because it's very volatile in both ways. So, well, the higher time frames tell us clearly it has a very strong short bias. I'm not so much, I prefer trading this short. However, natural gas is so volatile that you have good bull runs too. Like we had here, right? So there were a good number of trades here in this monthly bar, well, coming from lower time frames, obviously. Then we had another bull run. I think it was this one. It doesn't look very big, but there were a lot of opportunities actually on lower time frames too. So, well, now we have to see. That might be another bull run, right? Basically counter trend here, looking on the monthly. But before that happened, this recovery up, we actually had a really nice opportunity. That's an S1 pattern coming from a lower time frame. I'm just showing you here this consolidation. I think it was 15, coming from the 15 or 60-minute chart. I didn't trade it. I was not at my trading desk, but one of my master students did it. And you can see, well, it's a great run, right? And it comes out of this this pattern with a very low risk entry, which is basically, well, this is the entry, and the wick highs, double wick highs, is the stop, and that's basically more than 10-hour reward to risk here. It has achieved. So let's have a look at the US dollar index. The US dollar index. So I have been very bullish right here. I was actually expecting to break to new highs. Well, now I actually need to change my view on this a little bit, because the way it's developing, well, it has broken. It's a test, right? So these couple of bars, that's a test of 21, but it was not able to recover. So we have got a couple of bars, small bars, closing below the 21. Now we've got a crossover of 8 below 21. So that all tells me it doesn't look very strong here, the US dollar, the US dollar index. Well, on the monthly, it still goes for a test of 21, right? But as the quarterly is basically kind of here rangy, I have to think of actually changing my my outlook here, and thinking that we might actually see this to turn around and move lower towards the 200 moving average, which is here the 87. So 87 would be basically testing this area, and we had this level. Well, we had this busted type of S1 type of level here. So we might actually revisit the 90 level here before it breaks to new highs, or we actually might make new lows too. So I'm getting kind of open and flexible now with US dollar. It might actually weaken over the next couple of months and years. I will change my view if it actually shows strength and is able to break to close above the 21 within the next couple of weeks. But the longer it takes now, the less likely it is that we actually continue this uptrend. I'm thinking more, okay, let's take short trades and think about a new scenario. So yeah, this is it for the month of July. I think there are great trading opportunities in US equities long. Great trading opportunities as well with swing potential in metals. Very good trading opportunities here, especially heating oil for the time being. Natural gas is always good, and this is it basically. Thank you.